I told you I'd find you. Now you're gonna pay for what you did.
Victor's voice cuts through the London rain like a blade. You left me for that? A fucking old man who can barely... Imara's response is steel wrapped in silk. He's twice the man you'll ever be. Imara Nix didn't flinch when Victor Salerno's men found her outside that restaurant. She didn't flinch when her ex-husband, the most feared mafia boss on the East Coast, stepped from the shadows, rage twisting his handsome face. But her hand on Elias Crown's chest told Victor everything he refused to accept. She knew Victor would come. She'd spent 3 years building a life he couldn't touch, loving a man he couldn't understand. But it wasn't until that moment, standing between her violent past and her peaceful future, that the truth became undeniable. Victor never owned her. He just convinced her he did. And Elias? The 70-year-old weak-old man with silver hair and calm eyes? He was about to teach Victor exactly what real power looked like. 8 years ago, Imara Nix believed in fairy tales. She was 27, standing in a Manhattan gallery surrounded by her carefully curated collection of emerging artists. Her natural hair was styled in an elegant updo, her burgundy dress hugged her curves, and her dark skin glowed under the gallery lights. She'd worked 3 jobs to get through art school. She'd clawed her way into this world of wealth and culture. That night, she finally felt like she'd made it. Then Victor Salerno walked through the door. He wasn't the most handsome man there, but he commanded the room like he owned it. Expensive suit, confident walk, eyes that found her instantly and never looked away. When he approached, his smile was warm. His questions about the art seemed genuine. He listened when she spoke about the artist's stories, their struggles, their dreams. "You see the beauty in broken things," he said, touching her hand. "That's rare." She should have heard the warning in those words. Within 2 weeks, he'd sent flowers to her apartment every day. Within a month, they were inseparable. Within 6 months, she was walking down the aisle in a dress that cost more than her yearly salary. Everyone told her how lucky she was, a powerful man, a provider, a protector. The first year was subtle. Victor didn't like her friend Jasmine. "She's jealous of what we have, baby." Her mother called too much. "They don't understand our love." Her gallery job took too much time. "Why do you need to work? I can give you everything." By year 2, Imara had no friends. Her family barely called anymore. She'd quit her job, and when she asked Victor about the men who visited their penthouse at strange hours, about the hushed phone calls in Italian, about the blood on his shirt that one night, he grabbed her throat and slammed her against the wall. "You don't question me," he said quietly, his grip tight enough to leave bruises. "Ever." He apologized the next morning with diamond earrings and tears. It wouldn't happen again, he promised. He loved her too much. She'd just pushed him too far. But it did happen again and again, each time followed by gifts, apologies, promises. The pattern became her prison. In public, they were perfect. The beautiful black wife, the powerful Italian husband, the couple everyone envied. In private, she walked on eggshells, never knowing what would set him off. By year 5, Imara barely recognized herself in the mirror. The ambitious woman who'd built a career was gone, replaced by a ghost who flinched at sudden movements. Then Victor traveled to Sicily for business. He'd be gone for 10 days. Imara took the settlement money from her grandmother's estate, money Victor didn't know about, and disappeared. She flew to London with 1 suitcase, a burner phone, and a new name on her passport that a desperate friend had helped her arrange. That was 3 years ago. Now, at 35, Imara owned a thriving art gallery in South London. She'd completed 2 years of therapy. She'd built genuine friendships with people who valued her mind, not just her beauty. She'd created a life where she could breathe without fear, laugh without permission, exist without apologizing. But some nights, she still woke up screaming from nightmares where Victor found her. Some nights, she still felt his hands around her throat. And deep down, she'd always known this peace was temporary. Victor didn't forgive, he didn't forget. He'd been searching for her all this time. Now, standing in the London rain with Elias beside her, she realized her past had finally caught up. 6 months before Victor found her, Imara met a man who changed everything. The British Museum's charity gala was exactly the kind of event she normally avoided. Too much wealth, too many powerful men who looked at women like possessions. But her domestic violence art program needed funding, and she'd learned to swallow her discomfort for a good cause. She stood alone near a Greek sculpture, reviewing her pitch notes, on when someone spoke beside her. Remarkable, isn't it? This piece survived 2,000 years. Sometimes I think art is humanity's way of proving we were here. That we mattered. Imara looked up. The man was older, 70 maybe, with silver hair combed neatly back and kind eyes that crinkled at the corners. His suit was expensive but understated. No flashy watch, no power stance, just presence. "Elias Crown," he said, extending his hand. "I'm told you run the gallery in South London, the one supporting emerging artists from marginalized communities. You've done your research." Imara shook his hand, surprised by the gentle firmness. "I always do before deciding where to invest." He smiled. "Tell me about your domestic violence program, not the pitch version, the real version, why it matters to you." No one ever asked her that. They asked about numbers, reach, publicity, never why. So she told him, about art as healing, about giving survivors a voice when the world tried to silence them, about seeing beauty in broken things and helping others see it too. Elias listened, actually listened. His eyes never drifted to her body. He didn't interrupt. He asked thoughtful questions that proved he understood what she was building. When he quoted Rumi, "Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love," something shifted in her chest. They met for coffee the following week. Elias arrived with a folder full of research on art therapy programs, grant opportunities, potential donors. He offered a substantial donation with no strings attached. "Why?" Imara asked, suspicious despite herself. "Because good work deserves support," he said simply. "Oh, and because I spent 30 years in diplomacy, watching powerful men destroy beautiful things. I'd like to help build something instead." The friendship grew slowly. Gallery visits where Elias studied each piece with genuine interest, long conversations about art history, philosophy, the nature of power and gentleness. He shared stories from diplomatic postings in Moscow, Cairo, Singapore, never bragging, just painting pictures of a life lived with curiosity and purpose. He never pushed, never demanded her time or attention, never made her feel like she owed him anything. 3 months in, Elias told a story about accidentally insulting a Chinese diplomat by mispronouncing a word that meant esteemed elder but came out as elderly chicken. Imara laughed so hard she snorted wine. When she looked up, embarrassed, Elias was watching her with something like wonder. "You're extraordinary," he said quietly. The air between them changed. Imara's breath caught. "Elias," she started. "I'm 70, he said as if confessing a crime. "You're 35. I know how old you are. And it doesn't bother you?" "Should it?" Imara set down her wine glass. "You're the first man in years who's looked at me and seen a person. Not a trophy, not a possession, just me." "I do see you," Elias said, "and you're remarkable." When he leaned in, he stopped halfway, asking permission without words, giving her the choice. Imara closed the distance. The kiss was gentle, respectful, everything Victor's kisses had never been. When they pulled apart, Elias touched her face with careful fingers. "Why me?" he asked. "Why an old man when you could have anyone?" "Because you see me," Imara whispered. "Really see me. And because you make me feel safe." Safe. She hadn't felt safe in 8 years, until now. The Italian restaurant was small and intimate, tucked away on a quiet London street. Candlelight flickered across the table where Imara and Elias sat, hands intertwined, laughing over shared tiramisu. 6 months. 6 perfect, peaceful months. "Tell me more about Atlanta," Elias said, squeezing her fingers gently. "About the girl who dreamed of art galleries." Imara smiled, remembering summers on her grandmother's porch, drawing everything she saw. I used to think I could capture the whole world on paper. Make it beautiful, even the hard parts. Across the street, a man in a dark coat raised his phone. The camera clicked. The photo sent instantly, time stamped, location tagged. 3,000 miles away in New York, Victor Salerno stared at his phone screen. His wife, his Imara, holding hands with an old man, smiling like Victor had never made her smile. Happy, free. The phone shattered against the wall. Then the lamp. Then everything within reach. His men stood frozen in the doorway as their boss destroyed his office, roaring like a wounded animal. "Get my jet ready," Victor snarled, blood dripping from his knuckles. "We're going to London, tonight." Back in London, Imara and Elias left the restaurant, her arm linked through his. The autumn air was cool, rain threatening. She was telling him about her grandmother's garden when Elias tensed beside her. "Imara?" A black car pulled up to the curb. The back door opened. Victor Salerno stepped out. Imara's entire body went rigid. Her breath stopped. Every instinct screamed run, but her legs wouldn't move. The terror response was immediate, cellular, 5 years of conditioning that therapy hadn't fully erased. Victor looked exactly the same. Dark hair perfectly styled, expensive suit, that smile that promised violence. "Hello, baby," he said, voice smooth as poison. "Miss me?" Elias stepped forward, placing himself between them. "You need to leave." Victor's laugh was cruel. "And who the fuck are you? Her grandfather?" "I'm the man she chose," Elias said calmly. "Now leave. You're not welcome here." "Not welcome?" Victor's eyes went cold. "That's my wife, old man. My property. You think you can just—" "He's twice the man you'll ever be," Imara said, her voice shaking but clear. She stepped forward, hand protective on Elias's chest, claiming her choice. "I'm not your property, Victor. I never was." Victor's face twisted with rage. "You left me for that? A fucking old man who can barely get it up?" "You have no idea what I'm capable of," Elias said quietly, and something dangerous flickered in his kind eyes. Victor ignored him, focused entirely on Imara. "You think you can hide from me? Replace me with a senior citizen? I'll destroy him, Imara. I'll take everything he has. Then I'll drag you back home where you belong." "I was never yours," Imara said, though tears burned her eyes. "I just didn't know it yet. This isn't over." Victor's voice dropped to the cold tone she remembered from their worst nights. "Not even close." He got back in his car and disappeared into London traffic. Imara's legs finally gave out. Elias caught her, holding her as she shook violently, a panic attack crashing through her body. "I won't let him hurt you," Elias murmured against her hair. "I promise." "You don't understand." Imara pulled back, tears streaming. "You don't know what he's capable of, the things he's done. I should end this, protect you. If he hurts you because of me, no." Elias cupped her face firmly. "Look at me, Imara. We face this together. He'll destroy you. He destroys everything I love. Then he'll find I'm not as easy to destroy as he thinks." Something shifted in Elias's expression, something hard and capable. "I'm not some helpless old man, love. And I'm certainly not letting you face him alone. Elias?" "Together," he repeated. "Do you trust me?" Imara looked into his eyes and saw strength she'd never noticed before. Not the loud, aggressive strength Victor wielded like a weapon. Just something quieter, deeper, more dangerous. "Yes," she whispered, "I trust you. Good. Because Victor Salerno just made the worst mistake of his life." The black roses arrived the next morning. Imara found them on her gallery doorstep, 24, arranged in a crystal vase she recognized from their penthouse in New York. The card was simple, written in Victor's precise handwriting. "You can't hide from me. You're mine. Always. V." Her hands shook as she threw them in the trash, but the message was clear. He knew where she worked, where she lived, where she existed. Over the next week, the surveillance became obvious, photos sent to her phone at random hours, her morning coffee run, her evening walk, her lunch with gallery staff. Victor was watching, always watching. Elias stayed close, his presence steady while her world tilted. But Imara saw the worry in his eyes, the guilt creeping in. "This is my fault," she said one night in his apartment. "I brought this danger to you. Maybe I should—" "Don't." Elias pulled her close. "Don't even think about leaving. That's what he wants." The real attack came through her gallery funding. 3 major donors pulled their support within 48 hours, all citing vague business concerns. Imara knew Victor's reach extended into legitimate business. He was using his connections to strangle everything she'd built. Then her phone rang, Victor's number. "Hello, baby." His voice was silk over steel. "How's business?" "What do you want, Victor?" "I want you home, in New York, where you belong." He paused. "Leave the old man. Come back to me. I'll stop all of this. Your gallery will be fine. Your little art program will get funded. I'll even forget you betrayed me." "No." "No?" Victor's laugh was sharp. "Then I'll take everything from you, Imara. Your gallery, your reputation, your pathetic new life. And when you have nothing left, when that senior citizen realizes you're more trouble than you're worth, I'll be waiting, and then I'll take him too. You can't— I'm Victor Salerno. I can do whatever I want. Last chance, baby. Come home or watch everything burn." Imara's voice didn't shake. "I'm not coming back, ever." The silence stretched long and cold. "Then you've chosen war," Victor said quietly, "and war is what you'll get." The line went dead. Imara dropped the phone, her breath coming in short gasps. The panic attack hit fast, chest tight, vision blurring, the walls closing in. She was back in their penthouse, Victor's hand around her throat, his voice promising that leaving would be worse than staying. "Imara, Imara, look at me." Elias was there, kneeling in front of her, hands gentle on her face. "Breathe with me, in and out. That's it. You're safe. You're here with me." It took 10 minutes for her breathing to steady. When it did, shame flooded in. "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." "Stop." Elias sat beside her on the floor. "Tell me about him. All of it. I need to understand what we're facing." So Imara told him everything. The isolation, the violence, the years of walking on eggshells, never knowing what would trigger his rage, the way he made her believe she deserved it, the way he convinced her no one else would ever want her. "He made me feel worthless," she whispered, "like I was nothing without him." Elias was quiet for a long moment, his jaw tight with controlled anger. "He's wrong," he finally said. "You're not worthless. You're not his property. And I promise you, Imara, he will not take you back. He will not destroy what you've built. I won't allow it." "How can you stop him? He's dangerous, powerful, connected." Elias nodded. "I know, but so am I. In ways you don't yet understand." Imara studied his face, the calm certainty, the steel beneath the gentleness. "Who are you really, Elias Crown?" "Someone who keeps his promises," he said, "and I promised you'd be safe, so that's what you'll be." The countryside road was empty, autumn leaves scattered across the asphalt. Elias drove carefully, Imara beside him, finally relaxing for the first time in days. They were heading to his estate for the weekend, away from London, away from Victor's reach. "I think you'll like the library," Elias was saying. "It has a collection of—" The black SUV came from nowhere. It slammed into them from behind, sending their car spinning. Elias fought the wheel, but the SUV hit them again, harder. The car flipped, metal screaming, glass shattering. Everything went sideways, then upside down, then still. Imara hung from her seatbelt, dazed. Blood dripped from a cut on her forehead. "Elias?" Her voice was weak. "I'm here." He was already unbuckling her carefully. "Can you move? Anything broken?" Before she could answer, car doors slammed outside. Footsteps approached. "Stay down," Elias said quietly, and something in his tone made her freeze. Two men appeared at the wreck, dark clothes, cold eyes. Not good Samaritans. They'd come to confirm the kill. "I check if they're dead," one said in an accent Imara recognized. "Victor's men." Elias moved. 1 second he was a 70-year-old man trapped in a wrecked car. The next he was out, moving with shocking speed and precision. He grabbed the first man's arm, twisted it at an angle that made the man scream, and used his own momentum to flip him onto the ground, hard. The second man reached for a gun. Elias was faster. He struck the man's wrist, disarmed him with 2 efficient movements, and drove his elbow into the man's throat. The attacker dropped, gasping. The whole thing took maybe 10 seconds. The first man scrambled up, grabbed his partner, and they ran back to the SUV. Tires screamed as they fled into the distance. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Someone had called it in. Elias turned back to Imara, breathing hard but controlled. Blood dripped from cuts on his face. His silver hair was wild. "Are you hurt?" he asked, like he hadn't just taken down 2 trained killers. Imara couldn't speak, couldn't process what she'd just seen. The hospital was a blur of lights and questions. Minor injuries, cuts, bruises, shock. They were lucky, the doctor said. Very lucky. Imara sat in the waiting room while they stitched Elias's forehead, her hands shaking. Victor had tried to kill him. Actually tried to kill him. Because of her. When they finally let her in, Elias sat on the examination table, bandaged and bruised but alive. "This is my fault." The words burst out of her. "He's trying to kill you because of me. I have to leave you. Keep you safe. I can't watch him destroy you." "Imara, stop." Elias caught her hands. "Ah, look at me. Those men could have killed you." "But they didn't." His grip was firm, grounding. "Because I know how to handle myself." "What does that mean?" Imara pulled back, really looking at him. At the way he'd moved, the precision, the deadly efficiency. "What you did out there, that wasn't just self-defense. You moved like I've done it before," Elias finished quietly. The hospital room felt suddenly smaller. "Who are you?" Imara whispered. Elias was silent for a long moment, his kind eyes troubled. "I told you I was a diplomat for 30 years, he finally said. "That was true, but it wasn't the whole truth." "Then tell me the whole truth." "I was MI6, Imara. British intelligence, for 3 decades. His voice was steady but careful. "Field operative, then handler. The diplomatic cover was real, but the work beneath it? That was something else entirely." Imara's mind reeled. "You were a spy." "I was a lot of things. Some of them I'm not proud of." Elias touched her face gently. "I retired at 60, spent the last 10 years trying to build something good, trying to be just the man you met at that gala, but the training doesn't leave, the skills don't fade. You could have told me. I wanted to be just Elias for you, not the operative, not the man who's done dark things." His thumb brushed her cheek. "But Victor's changed that. And I need you to understand, I'm not some fragile old man who needs protecting. I can keep you safe. By becoming what you were, if I have to." His eyes were hard now. "Yes." 2 days later, at Elias's countryside estate, Imara watched him move through the house with new eyes. And every gesture suddenly looked different. Economical, precise, purposeful. How had she not seen it before? "There's something I need to show you," Elias said after breakfast. He led her to his study, a room she'd never entered in 6 months of visiting. He unlocked it with a key from his pocket. Inside, the room was nothing like the rest of his warm, book-filled home. One wall held framed commendations, British government seals, foreign languages, dates spanning decades. Another displayed a locked cabinet. When Elias opened it, Imara saw weapons, handguns, knives, equipment she couldn't name. All maintained, ready. Photos covered a third wall, Elias in various countries looking younger but harder, standing with people in military uniforms, diplomatic settings, places that looked dangerous. "I wasn't just a diplomat," Elias said quietly behind her. "I was MI6 for 30 years. Field operative first, then handler when I got older. Imara touched one photo. Elias may be 40, standing in what looked like a war zone. What did you do? Extraction mostly. Getting people out of impossible situations. Counter-terrorism. Intelligence gathering. He paused. Removing threats to British interests. Removing threats. The words hung heavy. You mean killing people? Yes. No hesitation. No excuse. I've killed. More than once. I've done things that would horrify you. Dark things. Necessary things. All for Queen and country. Imara turned to face him. Why are you telling me this now? Because Victor's escalating. Because you need to know who I really am. Elias stepped closer but didn't touch her. I retired at 60. Spent the last 10 years trying to build something good. The philanthropy, the charity work. That's my attempt to atone. To be more than just a weapon. You're not just a weapon. No, but I'm also not the gentle old professor you thought I was. His voice was steady, unflinching. I'm the man who knows 30 ways to kill someone with his bare hands, who can disappear a body so it's never found, who has contacts in every intelligence agency in Europe. Imara processed this, her mind racing. Why didn't you tell me before? Because I'm not that man anymore. I chose peace. Elias's eyes were pained. I chose art galleries and charity galas and quiet dinners. I chose you, Imara. The real you, not some assignment. I didn't want my past to touch what we were building. But now it has to. Yes, because Victor won't stop. He finally reached for her hand. If he threatens you, I can become that operative again. I can protect you in ways he won't see coming. Imara looked at their joined hands, his weathered, hers smooth. She should be afraid, should feel betrayed by the secrets. But instead, she felt something else. Relief. You're still you, she said slowly. Just more complicated, more capable, more than I knew. Does it change how you feel? About us? No. Imara squeezed his hand. About Victor? Yes, because now I know we have a chance. Elias studied her face. What are you saying? I'm saying use everything you are to help me end this. Her voice grew stronger. I'm tired of running, tired of being afraid, tired of letting him control my life from 3,000 miles away. I want my life back, Elias. And I want him gone. Going after Victor means going to war with a mafia boss. Then that's what we do. Imara's jaw set. You have contacts, resources, skills. Use them. Let's stop playing defense and go on offense. Elias was quiet for a long moment, something dangerous and proud flickering in his eyes. All right, he said, but we do this smart, carefully. We gather evidence of his crimes, real evidence that puts him away legally. We use my MI6 contacts to track his organization, find the weaknesses. We don't just survive Victor, we dismantle him. Can we do that? Yes. No doubt in his voice, but it will take time, and Victor will strike again before we're ready. You need to be prepared for that. I am. Imara stepped into his arms. As long as we're together. Elias held her tight, and his gentleness unchanged despite everything she now knew about him. Together, he promised, always. 2 weeks of careful work had given them hope. Imara stood in her gallery, reviewing documents on her laptop, financial records, shipping manifests, communications between Victor's associates. Elias's MI6 contacts had been quietly building a case, gathering evidence of money laundering, racketeering, connections to violent crimes, real evidence that could put Victor away for decades. The authorities were interested, very interested. An indictment was coming. Victor was losing control, and he knew it. The black van appeared outside at 2 p.m., broad daylight, witnesses everywhere. Imara barely had time to look up before 3 men burst through the gallery door. "Nobody move!" one shouted, gun visible. Staff and visitors scattered. Onward screaming. Imara tried to run for the back exit, but strong hands grabbed her. She fought. Elias had been teaching her self-defense, but there were too many of them. A cloth pressed over her mouth. Chemical smell. Everything went fuzzy. The last thing she heard was someone calling the police. Elias was meeting with a former MI6 colleague when his phone buzzed. Unknown number. Video file. He opened it and his blood went cold. Imara sat bound to a chair in what looked like an abandoned warehouse. Duct tape across her mouth. Fear in her eyes, but fury too. She wasn't broken. Not yet. Victor paced behind her like a caged animal, his expensive suit rumpled, his handsome face twisted with rage. "Hello, old man," Victor said to the camera. "Look at what happens when you take what's mine. Look at her, my wife, my property. She chose wrong. Didn't she? Chose you over me? An old man over a king?" He grabbed Imara's hair, yanking her head back. She made a muffled sound of pain. "I gave her everything," Victor continued, voice rising. "Everything, and she threw it away for you. A 70-year-old has been who can barely—" He stopped himself, breathing hard. "I'll kill her before I let you have her. I swear to God I'll put a bullet in her head right now unless you come. Alone. No police, no backup. Just you." A location pinged through. Warehouse District, East London. 2 hours. "Come alone, Crown," Victor said, pressing a gun to Imara's temple, "or I kill her now and mail you the pieces." The video ended. Elias was already moving, phone to his ear. His voice was clipped, professional, the voice of the operative he'd been. "Marcus, it's Crown. I need tactical support. East London Warehouse District. Yes, now. Victor Salerno has Imara." He rattled off the address. "Alert the authorities, but hold them back. I'm going in first." "Elias, wait for us." "No time. He gave me 2 hours. I need one." Elias was already at his car, heading for the secure lockbox in the trunk. "Get there as fast as you can, but I'm not waiting." He disconnected and opened the box. Inside were things he hadn't touched in 10 years. Weapons, tactical gear, equipment from a life he'd tried to leave behind. His hands moved with practiced efficiency, checking magazines, securing holsters, planning approaches. The gentle philanthropist disappeared. The MI6 operative emerged. He looked at Imara's photo on his phone, her smile at the gallery opening, radiant and free, the woman he loved. The woman Victor had taken because Elias hadn't moved fast enough. "I'm coming, love," he said quietly, securing the last weapon. "Hold on, just hold on." He started the car, mind already running through warehouse breach protocols, threat assessment, kill zones. Victor wanted him alone? He'd get him alone. But Victor had made one fatal mistake. He'd assumed a 70-year-old man would be easy to handle. He'd assumed age meant weakness. He'd assumed wrong. Elias drove toward East London, and for the first time in 10 years, he let himself become what he'd been trained to be, a weapon with a purpose. And that purpose was saving Imara, no matter what it cost. The warehouse was cold, metal and concrete echoing every sound. Imara's wrists burned where the zip ties cut into her skin, but she kept working them slowly against the chair's rough edge. Elias had taught her this. Stay calm, find the weakness, work it. Victor paced in front of her, gun in hand, ranting. "You were perfect," he said, voice swinging between rage and something like grief. "My perfect wife, beautiful, elegant, mine. Then you forgot your place. You forgot who gave you everything." Imara spoke through the tape he'd ripped off earlier, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "You gave me nothing but fear, Victor, nothing but pain disguised as love. Elias gave me peace. That's why I chose him." Victor's face went dark. "Peace? With a 70-year-old man? You traded a king for a corpse. I traded a prison for a home." "Shut up!" Victor raised the gun, hand shaking. "You don't get to talk, you don't get to choose. You're mine, Imara, mine. And if I can't have you, then you die with that choice," he finished, aiming at her head. Imara's zip tie snapped free. She moved fast, throwing herself sideways as Victor fired. The bullet pinged off metal. She grabbed the chair, swung it hard into Victor's knees. He went down cursing and she was on him, using every move Elias had taught her. Victor was stronger, but she was desperate. They fought viciously, her elbow to his throat, his fist to her ribs, both struggling for the gun that had fallen. "You're nothing without me!" Victor screamed, grabbing her hair. "I was nothing with you," Imara gasped, kicking hard. "I'm everything without you." The warehouse door exploded inward. Elias moved through like smoke and steel. Victor's 3 guards turned, reaching for weapons. They didn't make it. Elias was faster, disarming, incapacitating, moving with deadly efficiency that came from decades of training. In 30 seconds, all 3 were down. Then Elias was there, stepping into the space where Imara and Victor struggled. Imara broke free, scrambling for the fallen gun. Her hands closed around it. She stood, pointing it at Victor's chest, breathing hard. Victor laughed bitterly from the floor. "You won't shoot. You're not like me. You're weak. You're right," Imara said, voice shaking but clear. "I'm not like you. I'm better than you." "Imara." Elias's voice was calm, grounding. He stood a few feet away, giving her space. "Your choice, love. I can make this disappear. No one would ever know. Or we let the law handle him." Victor's laugh turned cruel. "The old man thinks he can protect you? He's weak. He's nothing. You'll come back to me eventually." Elias moved. One moment he was standing still. The next, Victor was on his face, arm twisted behind his back, Elias's knee on his spine. It happened so fast, Victor didn't even finish his sentence. "Weak?" Elias said quietly, voice cold as winter. "Say it again. Test me." Victor wheezed, pinned completely. Imara looked at them, her past and her future, violence and peace, possession and partnership. The gun felt heavy in her hand. "The law," she said finally, lowering the weapon. "I won't become what he is. I won't let him turn me into a killer." She met Victor's eyes. "But I want him to rot in prison knowing I chose freedom over him every single day, knowing he lost." Sirens wailed outside. Moments later, police swarmed in. Elias's MI6 contacts had brought them, armed with warrants, evidence, everything they needed. Officers pulled Victor up, snapping handcuffs on his wrists. The evidence was overwhelming. Kidnapping, racketeering, money laundering, connections to multiple murders, RICO charges, federal crimes. He'd never see freedom again. "You're mine," Victor screamed as they dragged him toward the door. "You'll always be mine. You can't escape me." Imara walked forward until she stood directly in front of him. Her voice was quiet, but everyone heard it. "I was never yours, Victor," she said. "I just didn't know it yet. But I know it now. And you'll have decades in prison to think about the woman you never actually had." Victor lunged, but the officers held him tight. His screams echoed as they took him away. Then there was silence. Elias pulled Imara into his arms, holding her as she finally broke down. "It's over," he whispered. "It's finally over." 1 year later, Imara's gallery was packed wall to wall. The exhibition was called Reclaimed Narratives, her paintings alongside pieces from 12 domestic violence survivors she'd supported through her foundation. Each artwork told a story of escape, healing, transformation. The press was there, supporters, survivors sharing their stories with courage that filled the room. Elias stood slightly behind Imara, his hand resting gently on her lower back, proud, supportive, letting her shine. The diamond on her left hand caught the light, a ring she'd chosen herself, an engagement on her timeline, her terms. They'd spend their lives building this together, peace, partnership, love that honored instead of owned. 300 miles away, in a federal prison, Victor Salerno received a newspaper someone had smuggled in. The headline showed Imara and Elias at the gallery opening, the caption mentioning their engagement. Victor destroyed his cell, screaming, raging. Guards came to restrain him, but the damage was done. He was powerless now, just a prisoner watching the woman he'd tried to own build a beautiful life without him. The next day, Imara visited him. She sat across from Victor in the prison visiting room, separated by reinforced glass. He looked older, harder. Prison had stripped away the polish, leaving only the violence beneath. Victor picked up the phone, expecting tears or anger. Instead, Imara's face was calm, peaceful. "I came to say thank you," she said. Victor blinked. "What?" "Thank you, for showing me exactly what I don't want, what I'd never accept again." Imara's voice was steady, strong. "You made me strong enough to recognize real love when I found it." "Love?" Victor's laugh was bitter. "With a 70-year-old man? That's not love, Imara. That's respect, partnership, safety, presence." She leaned forward slightly. "Everything your 45 years of violence never taught you. Age gave Elias wisdom. What did youth give you, Victor? Just rage, just control, just emptiness." "You'll regret this," Victor hissed. "You'll realize you made a mistake." "The only mistake I made was staying with you as long as I did." Imara stood, preparing to leave. "But I learned from it. I'm stronger now, happier, free. And you'll rot here knowing you lost, knowing I chose a gentle old man over you, knowing I'm building everything beautiful you tried to destroy." She hung up the phone and walked away. Victor's screaming followed her down the hallway, but she didn't look back, didn't flinch. That part of her life was over. That evening, at Elias's countryside estate, they sat in the garden tasting wedding cakes. Imara laughed as Elias made a face at the lemon flavor, insisting the chocolate was superior. "You're impossible," she said, wiping frosting from his chin. "You love it," he replied, catching her hand and kissing her palm. Later, as the sun set golden over the hills, Elias read poetry aloud while Imara painted at her easel. His voice was soothing, familiar, safe. "Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love," he read from Rumi. "It will not lead you astray." Imara looked up and caught him watching her with that expression. Wonder, gratitude, love. "What?" she asked, smiling. "Just grateful," Elias said softly. "That you chose me, that you chose us, despite everything, despite everyone's opinions." Imara set down her brush and crossed to him, settling into his lap. His arms wrapped around her, strong despite his years. "Best choice I ever made," she whispered against his neck. "Peace over chaos, wisdom over violence, you over everyone, always." They kissed as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in colors that matched Imara's canvas. Their land, their peace, their choice, their future. The engagement ring caught the fading light as their hands intertwined, his weathered, hers smooth, both holding tight. "They said I was stubborn for leaving," Imara thought. "Stubborn for choosing an older man, stubborn for refusing to be afraid. They were right. I'm stubborn about my peace, stubborn about my love. And I'll never apologize for choosing life over survival." She'd been Victor's wife, his possession, his victim. Now she was Imara Nix, artist, survivor, fighter, lover. And soon, she'd be Imara Crown. Not because a man owned her, but because she chose him. Every single day. Subscribe to Afro-Korean Dynasty Stories for more stories of women who chose themselves. Drop a heart in the comments if Imara's journey inspired you. And remember, it's never too late to choose peace. It's never wrong to choose love. And you're never too stubborn to deserve both.